Think you know England? Think again. From train tickets that can cost more than flights to world-famous museums that are completely free, England is full of surprises most tourists never expect. Stay with us as we reveal 12 shocking facts that may completely change the way you see this iconic country. London's housing costs can be truly shocking. For many people arriving in London, the biggest surprise is not the weather or the crowded subway. It is the price of having a place to live. As of May 2026, the average private rent in London had reached about £2,294 per month, making it the most expensive rental region in England. In Kensington and Chelsea, the average was even more dramatic, at roughly £3,591 a month. Buying a home is no easier. In April 2026, the average London property was worth approximately £542,000. Even though prices had fallen by about 2.1% compared with the previous year, London homes were still nearly twice as expensive as the average property in England. This explains why sharing an apartment is not limited to students. Young professionals, couples, and even people with stable, well-paying jobs may rent a single bedroom in a shared house to reduce expenses. Housing can consume a huge portion of a household's income. The latest official affordability study found that London renters were spending an average equivalent of 41.6% of their household income on rent. So, earning a respectable salary does not automatically mean living comfortably in London. Before choosing a neighborhood, residents must carefully calculate rent, transportation, utilities, local taxes, and deposits. In this world-famous city, finding an affordable home can sometimes feel like a full-time job. A last-minute train ticket can cost more than a flight. One of the biggest surprises for visitors to England is the price of intercity rail travel. Buy a flexible ticket shortly before departure, especially during peak hours, and the fare can feel astonishing. In some cases, a domestic journey between major cities may cost more than a budget flight to another European country. The comparison is not perfect because airlines may add baggage and airport transfer fees, but the sticker shock is real. Britain's rail system has multiple ticket categories, travel restrictions, and demand-based advance fares. The cheapest advance tickets are limited, tied to a specific train, and sold on a first-come, first-served basis. National Rail says they can usually be booked up to 12 weeks ahead, although some remain available close to departure. Booking early, traveling off-peak, using a rail card, or checking split ticket options can greatly reduce the cost. The latest official fare index showed that rail fares across Great Britain rose 5.1% in 2025, compared with a 3.2% rise in the Retail Prices Index. England later froze regulated standard class, anytime, off-peak, and season fares until March 2027, but many unregulated and advanced prices still vary. For locals, planning a train trip is often less about choosing the destination and more about choosing the right ticket at the right time. The weather can change in just a few hours. If there's one thing almost every visitor remembers about England, it's the weather. You might wake up to bright blue skies, enjoy a sunny morning, get caught in a sudden rain shower at lunchtime, and then watch the sun return before dinner. Experiencing several types of weather in a single day isn't unusual. It's simply part of everyday life. England has a temperate maritime climate, shaped by air masses arriving from the Atlantic Ocean. According to the UK Met Office, the country's weather is naturally changeable, with different weather systems often moving through in quick succession. That's why locals rarely leave home without a light waterproof jacket or a compact umbrella, even when the forecast looks promising. Many tourists are surprised by how quickly conditions can shift. A clear morning can turn cloudy within an hour, followed by a brief shower, and then sunshine again. This unpredictable pattern has even inspired the popular saying that you can experience 4 seasons in one day. While it's an exaggeration, it captures the feeling perfectly. In recent years, the UK's weather has also become more extreme. The Met Office reports that the country is seeing more frequent temperature and rainfall extremes than in previous decades, making unexpected weather changes even more noticeable. For travelers, the best advice is simple: dress in layers and always be prepared for a surprise. Queuing is almost an unwritten rule. One of the first cultural surprises many visitors notice in England has nothing to do with famous landmarks. It's the way people line up. Whether they're waiting for a bus, ordering coffee, entering a museum, or even boarding a train, forming an orderly queue is simply expected. Most people patiently wait their turn, and cutting in line is widely considered rude, even if it only saves a few seconds. This habit has become one of the country's most recognizable social customs. Historians often trace Britain's strong queuing culture back to the Second World War, when rationing made orderly lines a necessary part of daily life. Over the decades, it evolved into a symbol of fairness and mutual respect, rather than just a practical system. Visitors are often amazed by how naturally this works. At busy bus stops, people usually know who arrived first without anyone saying a word. During rush hour, commuters often stand in neat lines on train platforms, waiting for passengers to get off before boarding. In crowded cities like London, where millions of public transport journeys take place every day, this simple habit helps keep everything moving smoothly. For many tourists, the biggest surprise isn't that people queue. It's how seriously everyone respects the queue. In England, waiting your turn isn't just good manners. It's an unwritten social rule that most people follow without thinking twice. Some of England's most famous museums are free. One of the most pleasant surprises in England is that many world-famous national museums do not charge a general admission fee. In London, visitors can walk into institutions such as the British Museum and the Natural History Museum and explore their permanent collections without buying a standard entrance ticket. Some special exhibitions, events, and premium experiences may still cost extra, but the main galleries remain free. This policy is more significant than many travelers realize. Free admission to the permanent collections of government-sponsored national museums began in 2001, with the goal of making history, science, and art accessible to everyone. Today, the UK government supports 15 national museums and galleries that offer free entry to their permanent collections. The popularity of these museums is enormous. Between January and March 2026 alone, government-sponsored museums and galleries recorded about 10.5 million visits, an increase of 9.3% compared with the same period in 2025. For tourists used to paying high admission prices at major attractions, this can feel almost unbelievable. You can spend hours viewing ancient artifacts, dinosaur fossils, paintings, and scientific discoveries while paying nothing for general entry. Booking a free time slot is often recommended during busy periods, and donations are welcomed. But the experience remains one of England's best cultural bargains. Public transportation is surprisingly quiet. For many first-time visitors, one of the biggest surprises isn't what they hear on England's public transportation. It's what they don't hear. Whether you're riding the London Underground, a commuter train, or a local bus, the atmosphere is often remarkably quiet. Many passengers spend the journey reading, listening to music with headphones, checking their phones, or simply looking out the window instead of chatting with strangers. This quiet environment is closely connected to British social etiquette and respect for personal space. Speaking on the phone isn't forbidden, but having a loud conversation is generally considered inconsiderate, especially during busy commuting hours. On some train services, you will even find designated quiet coaches, where passengers are asked to keep conversations, phone calls, and electronic devices as silent as possible. These carriages are designed for people who want to work, read, or simply enjoy a peaceful trip. Visitors from more outgoing cultures are often surprised by how calm the journey feels, even when the train is completely full. Hundreds of people may be sharing the same carriage, yet the noise level remains surprisingly low. That doesn't mean people are unfriendly. It simply reflects a different cultural norm. In England, giving others a quiet, comfortable journey is often seen as a simple way to show courtesy, making public transportation feel more relaxed and organized than many travelers expect. Winter days can feel surprisingly short. If you visit England during the winter, one of the first things you'll notice is how early darkness arrives. In December and early January, the sun sets much sooner than many international visitors expect. In London, sunset can occur before 4 p.m. around the winter solstice, while cities farther north, such as Manchester or Newcastle, lose daylight even earlier. By late afternoon, it can already feel like nighttime. This happens because England is located at a relatively high latitude in the northern hemisphere. During winter, the Earth tilts away from the sun, resulting in fewer hours of daylight. Around the December solstice, London receives only about 8 hours of daylight, compared with more than 16 hours near the summer solstice. The UK's Met Office notes that daylight hours vary dramatically throughout the year, creating a noticeable contrast between seasons. For many visitors, the early sunset can take some getting used to. Outdoor attractions often close earlier. Evening rush hour begins before it's fully dark, and people may finish work after sunset, even in the middle of the afternoon. Locals adapt by planning outdoor activities earlier in the day and making the most of weekends when daylight is available. To many travelers, it's surprising to check the clock, see that it's only around 4 p.m., and realize the sky already looks like late evening. It's one of those seasonal experiences that makes winter in England feel very different from many other parts of the world. Tea is everywhere. When people think of England, tea is often one of the first things that comes to mind. But what surprises many visitors is just how deeply tea is woven into everyday life. It's not reserved for special occasions or formal gatherings. Instead, it's a daily ritual that appears almost everywhere, from homes and offices to construction sites, cafes, and even business meetings. Many people enjoy several cups throughout the day, whether it's first thing in the morning, during a mid-morning break, after lunch, or while relaxing in the evening. Offering someone a cup of tea is a common way to welcome guests, celebrate good news, or simply take a short break from a busy day. In many workplaces, a tea break is still an important part of the daily routine. The numbers reflect this long-standing tradition. According to the UK Tea and Infusions Association, people in the United Kingdom drink around 100 million cups of tea every day, making tea one of the country's most popular beverages. Black tea, often served with milk, remains the favorite choice for many households. For tourists, it can be surprising to see how naturally tea fits into everyday conversations. A simple phrase like, "let's put the kettle on," often means more than making a drink. It can be an invitation to relax, chat, and spend time together. In England, tea isn't just a beverage. It's an important part of the country's culture and daily life. Everyone drives on the left. For visitors from countries where traffic moves on the right, England can feel confusing from the moment they arrive. Cars drive on the left side of the road, while the driver usually sits on the right side of the vehicle. The official highway code instructs motorists to keep left during normal driving, except when overtaking, turning right, or avoiding an obstruction. This difference can make renting a car surprisingly challenging. The gear shift may be operated with the left hand, Roundabouts move clockwise, and drivers must give way to traffic approaching from the right. Even simple actions, such as leaving a parking lot or turning at an intersection, require extra concentration. Visitors who are used to driving on the opposite side can instinctively look or turn the wrong way. Pedestrians also need to adjust. Traffic may approach from a direction they do not expect, especially on one-way streets and at complicated intersections. That is why many crossings in London have the words "look right" or "look left" painted directly on the pavement. The safest approach is to pause, check both directions, follow pedestrian signals, and avoid relying only on habit. For many travelers, driving on the left is not just a road rule. It changes the entire rhythm of moving through the country and makes even crossing the street feel like a new experience. Many homes are hundreds of years old. One of the most fascinating things about England is that history isn't confined to museums. It is part of everyday life. As you walk through towns and villages, you'll find homes that have stood for centuries. Some cottages, farmhouses, and townhouses were built hundreds of years ago and are still lived in today, giving entire neighborhoods a timeless atmosphere that surprises many visitors. According to the latest housing data, England has hundreds of thousands of homes dating back before 1900. And many properties are officially protected because of their historic or architectural importance. These listed buildings cannot be altered freely, helping preserve the country's architectural heritage for future generations. What makes these homes especially interesting is the contrast between old and new. From the outside, you may see stone walls, brick chimneys, timber frames, and centuries-old facades that look almost unchanged. Step inside, however, and you'll often find modern kitchens, high-speed internet, central heating, and contemporary appliances. Homeowners carefully update the interiors while preserving the historic character of the exterior. For many tourists, it's hard to believe that a house built hundreds of years ago can still function as a comfortable modern home. In England, preserving history isn't just about protecting famous castles or cathedrals. It's also about allowing ordinary homes to continue telling the story of the country's past while serving the needs of everyday life. The BBC has no commercial ads on its main UK TV channels. Many visitors assume that every major television network relies on commercial breaks to make money. That's why they're often surprised to discover that the BBBC's main television channels in the UK broadcast programs without traditional commercial advertising. Instead of frequent ad breaks interrupting movies, documentaries, or news programs, viewers enjoy continuous programming from start to finish. The reason is simple but unusual. The BBC is primarily funded through the UK's TV license system rather than commercial advertising. Households that watch live television or use BBC iPlayer are generally required to have a valid TV license, and the revenue helps support the BBC's television, radio, online services, and educational programming. This public service funding model has existed for decades and is quite different from the advertising-based systems used in many other countries. For international visitors, the experience can feel refreshing. Watching a documentary or drama without regular commercial interruptions often comes as an unexpected surprise. While BBC Studios, the corporation's commercial arm, earns income from international businesses and content sales, the BBC's domestic public service broadcasting remains largely supported by license fee revenue rather than traditional television advertising. Whether people agree with this funding model or not, it remains one of the most distinctive features of British broadcasting and something that sets the BBC apart from many television networks around the world. England is much more than just London. For many international travelers, England and London seem almost interchangeable. The capital is famous for its iconic landmarks, busy streets, and fast-paced lifestyle. But one of the biggest surprises comes after leaving the city. Beyond London lies a completely different side of England, one filled with peaceful countryside, charming villages, and historic market towns that have changed very little over the centuries. England is home to thousands of villages and hundreds of traditional market towns, many surrounded by rolling hills, rivers, and farmland. Regions such as the Cotswolds, the Lake District, and Yorkshire are known for their stone cottages, narrow streets, and landscapes that attract millions of visitors every year. The Lake District National Park alone welcomes around 18 million visitors annually, making it one of the country's most popular destinations. What surprises many tourists is how different these places feel from London. Instead of crowded subway stations and towering office buildings, you'll find quiet village squares, local bakeries, centuries-old pubs, and a slower pace of life. Neighbors often know one another, and many traditions have been preserved for generations. For countless visitors, these smaller communities offer the most authentic glimpse of England. While London showcases the country's global influence, it is often the villages and rural towns that reveal the everyday character, history, and timeless charm that many people imagine when they think of England. British people can be polite but surprisingly reserved. One cultural difference that can confuse visitors is the quiet and reserved communication style found in many parts of England. People are often polite, patient, and willing to help, yet they may not immediately begin a personal conversation with someone they have just met. On trains, in elevators, or while waiting in line, strangers often respect one another's privacy instead of filling every moment with small talk. British communication can also be indirect. Rather than giving a blunt refusal, someone might say, "I'm not sure that will work," or "that could be difficult." Even criticism is often softened with phrases such as "perhaps," "a little," or "not quite." For visitors accustomed to more direct communication, these expressions can be easy to misunderstand. At first, this reserved behavior may feel distant or even unfriendly, but in many cases, it is actually a form of courtesy. Avoiding intrusive questions, speaking calmly, and allowing others personal space are common ways of showing respect. Once a conversation begins, the atmosphere can become much warmer. Humor, especially understatement and gentle sarcasm, plays an important role in social life. The biggest lesson for travelers is not to mistake quietness for coldness. In England, friendliness is often expressed subtly, through helpful actions, good manners, and respect for boundaries rather than immediate familiarity. England is more than famous landmarks. It is a country shaped by tradition, contrast, and everyday surprises. Which fact surprised you the most? Share your thoughts in the comments. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video for more travel documentaries.